like the old business book used to say, the customer's always right, is rule number one. And rule number two is, in those rare cases when they're not, refer to rule number one.
I'm Jimmy Bruce, president of Eastern Gateway Community College. We're proud to sponsor this thought-provoking interview series with community leaders who, through perseverance and determination, are being who they want to be and making a difference in the Mahoning Valley.
What has been the biggest change? Because there's been a lot of changes in just selling cars in general.
Right.
Now people are so much more informed. They're coming in, they've looked at their Blue Book price of their used car. They know what other cars are going for. They know which dealer has what. So I imagine that has had a huge impact in general.
Well, the biggest change really has been my hair color. It's gone from being really really dark black and brown to
that's the biggest change.
Biggest change really in the 30-some years. So yeah, you look back at it, and it's just time, right? And it's time and it's effort and work. But the things that might be most interesting to people is that years ago people would shop at least 3 car dealerships, and there would be a lot of what sometimes car salesmen would nickname tire kickers. Oh, wow, that guy's not really buying. Well, what he was really doing was gathering information. Right. He had to go physically to the dealership to see what the cars look like and what kind of equipment they came with, and he had to do some sit down and get some ideas from from the salespeople how it was going to be priced to him, how was he going to be dealt with, whether the guy's going to deal with him straight. So all of those things were taking place, if you will, physically. Today, customers shop just barely over 1 dealership. It went from 3 to just barely over 1.
Because they're checking the other ones out online.
Because they do it online.
Right.
They do it at night in their comfortable clothes, okay, with a hot cup of tea, and if it's in the winter, a cocoa, all right, because it's just at their own leisure, and they can take all the time in the world to find out what's going on. So the biggest change is in that traffic pattern, if you will, and in the ability to put the online presence out there. And while we still have a very traditional media footprint in Youngstown, what we notice and what we see even this broadcast eventually is going to probably be, for most folks, online. And they're going to catch it and pick it up on their daily feed, and that's a lot different than what it would have been 30 years ago.
So is there a different approach to making that sale then as a salesperson? Are you seeing perhaps less commission made because they are coming in and shopping, or how has that aspect of it changed?
Well, the
over
pressure
the
in
years?
the business, and we really began finding this out, was created by the Saturn franchises locally, was doggone good car, great buying process, and it was all no haggle.
Right.
And so this idea that somehow you could spend 2 hours with people and negotiate from the highest number down to the lowest number, and they were going to put up with that's really been 20-some years in the making, where that's getting destroyed. That myth is not working for folks. And so you've got to pretty quickly cut to the chase with transparent pricing. You've got to quickly cut to the chase with really good pictures of your inventory online, because again, I don't have to go see it physically, I can see it online. And so the online presence is hugely, hugely important to any dealership in the country, let alone in the Valley.
You have won numerous awards, this dealership has. What has made you so successful?
Wow, that's a tough question. But to be honest with you, I would have to think that the number one thing that I was able to inherit, besides the fact I had great parents that taught me a lot about life and about how to run a business, I inherited a great staff. And I inherited a bunch of folks to this day who are still with Greenwood Chevrolet that I started with in 1982. And so I would start with the staff and the ability for us to actually build strong relationships with them. And they do all the heavy lifting. They build the relationships with our local clientele and with our customers.
So what do you look for when you're hiring a salesperson?
Well, with a salesperson, we look for a number of things. But generally speaking, in the car business, that salesperson, and one of the big aspects is if he wants to sit around and wait for that funnel to work on the internet until he might be lucky enough to get one, the best thing he can bring is a relationship portfolio, if you will. He has to be well known, well liked, okay, or people won't trust him enough to actually do business with him. So just a traditional personality and somebody who just can, just to be referable, they say all you have to do is show up on time, say please and thank you, be a decent person. And the rest of it's really pretty teachable. The rest of it about automotive and what have you is very, very teachable. What we are beginning to see, though, in today's world, we're starting to see more and more some of these automotive techie specialties right here, where that's really helpful to some people. And the hard thing is trying to find the dual personality of somebody who knows enough of the technical stuff, and yet at the same time is a conversational person too.
So who's a salesperson and can explain to you
Right.
how the Bluetooth all works and all that.
Right,
Okay.
absolutely. And that's an
Gotcha.
interesting combination.
So have you taken a lot of leadership courses? Do you have a specific leadership philosophy as when you run your business?
Well, I'm a lifetime learner. I like to learn and I like to be stimulated. And so certainly I look for opportunities to grow in a lot of ways. But I just as be happy today, just as happy to take a scuba diving course where I can improve my knowledge of that sport, okay, or go to a bike repair seminar as I would to actually go to a particular digital marketing seminar. All of those are interesting to me, all of the above, if you will. So I'm probably a little more well-rounded than I was when I was younger, which is all we did when we were younger was go to those sales training programs and try and continue to figure out what do we need to do to keep building and growing the better team, okay, that will help us grow the business.
I was able actually to sit on a staff meeting that you had, and it's funny because you mentioned your dad somewhat being like a professor, a teacher, and you mentioned your coaches inspiring you, and that's kind of what I found. You were like a teacher, a professor, a mentor in the staff meeting. You showed a historical situation that had happened that dealt with social justice, and I guess, how did you come to doing that and making that part of what you want to relay to your staff on a regular basis?
I think I have the answer to that. Excuse me for interrupting you, but I think I have the answer to that, and that my mom made me go to church a lot. And so, I really did spend a lot of time, and I saw a lot of different styles of that. And I actually, a lot of the times, our sports teams would be affiliated with a local church up by us, and I would be inspired by somebody who would actually be that kind of a presenter. And also, I was inspired by my teachers. And so, when you combine some of that, some of that inspirational, come to be a better person thing with good teachers and good teaching, man, I hit the lottery. I was like, wow, man, let me go back to that Trumbull County experience there at Cortland, Ohio, Lakeview High School. That was a fantastic experience for me as a young man.
So what do you hope your employees take away from you, I guess, from those staff meetings? What do you hope that you're able to drive home with them while working here and through your leadership?
Right. Well, I want them to know that I care. So I have the good fortune of being able to travel a lot with my wife. Our kids live in various places around the country. None of them are actually in the car business. They're all graduated high school and college. They're doing well, and we're so excited about it. But that means we either don't see them or we hop in a doggone airplane most of the time to go spend some time with them. So we'll do that. But if I'm in town, I come to work every day, just like anybody else. And I'm here every day, and I'm available. I can't wait to solve a customer problem if there is one. I can't wait to get involved, and I just want to make sure that I lead by example. And I want them to know that I'm just that guy. I'm that real guy, and I wouldn't ask them to do something I wouldn't do. I also, I think by inspiring them, if I can give them enough inspiration and support, we don't get into what sometimes happens in a business like this or a people business, where sometimes we begin to second guess people's motives. And we begin to go, I think these people don't want to pay for that particular service function because they're not good people, or they just want to want to mooch out of it. And I just find that just A, very disgusting. B, it's not real. It's not true. There are a lot of issues, and the real issue is just plain and simply, like the old business book used to say, the customer's always right, is rule number one, and rule number two is, in those rare cases when they're not, refer to rule number one. And they're always right in any context that you need to step up and do things like that. And the employees have to feel really good about themselves if they're going to be able to make that kind of a judgment or a decision, so that they don't have to constantly be second guessing it.
I'm Jimmy Bruce, president of Eastern Gateway Community College. We're proud to sponsor this thought-provoking interview series with community leaders who, through perseverance and determination, are being who they want to be and making a difference in the Mahoning Valley.